make slavery and everything else legal in Guam, that would embarrass the United States of America. Okay, because remember that although you would be granted self-governance as a people, although you would be recognized on a nation-to-nation basis, you would still be United States citizens. And Congress does not want to grant citizenship to a peoples who are going to embarrass the United States of America.
What would that put us over the organic gap? What would put us in between organic gap?
What would separate us from the Organic Act? Federal registration as a tribe would separate us from the Organic Act, because federal registration as a tribe would mandate that we be naturalized as United States citizens under the Indian Naturalization Act. Okay? That's what would separate us from the Organic Act, because that would give us constitutional rights. And nobody under the Organic Act has constitutional rights.
So Chamorros that aren't registered will not receive those benefits and will not be naturalized and protected under the U.S. Constitution if they don't register with the tribe. Yet they're still living in Guam. If they're not registered,
that's right,
they would be excluded. Basically.
That's right. That's right.
They would lose out.
That's right.
Of all the benefits.
That's absolutely correct.
They would have to depend on the Organic Act.
Yep.
Which is limited.
Yep. That's 100% correct. This is not one of those things where, oh, we're going to do this and everybody else has to follow. No, you want to follow, don't follow. That's okay. We don't even need a majority of Chamorros. What we're going to do is we're going to educate people, just like we're doing tonight. We're going to give everybody the opportunity. And if people don't want to become tribal members because they don't want anybody calling them an Indian and they don't want, oh, reservation, and, you know, they'd rather be like John Wayne, that's okay. They don't have to register to be a tribal member. They can suffer. It's up to them.
Now, if we become registered, would they still be able to become members after we're registered?
Sure. Anybody, any Chamorro who wants to register with the tribe can register. They have to go through the registration process. Now, before we get registered federally, we have our own registration process. After we get federally registered, that process is going to change. And it will become more difficult to be a registered member of the tribe, because you will have to go before a committee and you will have to prove your ancestry before a committee. And then you would have to go before the council so that your registration application could be approved based upon the recommendation of the committee. Right now, you gather your documentation, you submit it gets reviewed. Okay, this is a Chamorro. Let's register them.
Like I say, I'm the only family here, okay? All of my families are back to the mainland. Would they be eligible for it?
Yeah. They want to register, sure would. They have the same rights as any other Native American tribe in the United States. Those rights aren't taken away from you when you leave the reservation. They follow you. As a matter of fact, you can share the benefits with other Native Americans on their reservations, and in their colleges and in their hospitals. The Native Americans actually even have their own treaties with each other. Okay? They have their own treaties with each other. They can even do commercial business with each other at cost, legally.
I read that regarding Native American, that what you just said about natives doing business with other natives, like the Chamorro tribe can do business with the Native Alaskans with salmon, you know, and you would get preferential trading rates with them. They even own shipping companies if you're a native.
Will that bring a lot of business?
You know, and the supply of Asia with salmon because it's coming from a native product. And in addition, they also have stuff like ambassadors, where a tribe can send ambassadors at large. because you're an independent country.
And when it comes to Native American corporations conducting business, okay, whether it be with each other or with other companies or even with other nations or even with the federal government, when it comes to Native American corporations conducting business, that business is supported by the United States government. Okay? It is supplemented by the United States government and supported by the United States government. One of the things that the United States government wants to see is the United States government wants to see Native American tribes exercising responsible self-governance to the point where the United States government doesn't need to pay for their government anymore, because they're making enough money on their own to support themselves. And that has happened with some of the tribes in the U.S. right now. Some of the tribes in the U.S. are making so much money they have annuities to every tribal member. Okay? That means the profit from their commercial corporations operated by the tribes. Okay? After all of their expenditures are paid off, the profit that remains by act of their tribal council, by laws that they created for themselves, they divide that profit up amongst all their tribal members, and they get them in the form of annual annuities.
When it comes to the Chamorro Land Trust, who would be responsible for that?
The tribe.
When it comes to the military Chamorro Land Trust, who would be responsible for that also?
Under Title 25, you have a clause called repatriation. Okay, any lands that were unjustly taken from the native inhabitants of that state or territory become eligible for a process called repatriation, wherein the tribe files a grievance with the Department of Interior Bureau of Indian Affairs for the repatriation of those lands, stating the reasons why those lands should be repatriated, because they were unjustly taken from the native inhabitants, the original inhabitants of the land. Okay, or because they fall under the parameters of sacred burial sites, or several other reasons. But that grievance is filed through the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and then the Department of Interior sues the applicable federal agency holding those lands in U.S. District Court for repatriation of those lands to the tribe.